All right, everybody, we are going live to talk about autism. We have a really cool opportunity today. We're going to be talking about autism. We're going to be talking about, if you're an autism parent, if you think you are an autism parent, if you think your child might have autism, or if you think you might have autism, or if you do have autism, this is the place for you. We actually have an interesting opportunity today that we're going to be talking about water safety today a bit more. Hello, Nat. Hello, Lexi. Good to see you guys. Good to see you. Good to see you. Okay. All right, everybody, come on in. We are going to be talking about autism today. Come on in, be tapping on that screen. Let's get the likes going. Again, once we get to 20,000 likes, we do go over the news of the day. Hey, Zachary, I appreciate that. That means a lot. How's everyone doing today? Oh, yeah, the water safety tips. We got some good stuff. We got some good stuff for sure. We have Emily, who's going to be hopping on here pretty soon. We kind of did something weird. We were going to have a water safety webinar, and we trialed this on Wednesday. And the struggle was it was reported a lot that people couldn't hop on. And it was because it was on Teams. And if you don't have Teams installed, Teams likes to make it difficult. And so we are taking a different approach here. We're taking a different approach, and we are just going to do this version live, where we're going to be interviewing a adaptive swim teacher who specializes in teaching kids with autism. Yeah, Nat, I know. There were a lot of people that struggled to be able to. We had a good turnout, but we struggled to. The platform itself had barriers. Erica says, can kids mildly, moderately make friends easily? There are some kids with autism that really struggle to make friends. That is actually within the diagnostic criteria of autism. Building relationships is in there as something that people with autism often struggle with. Hey, Emily, I can bring it up here. And we'll move a little bit slowly here, Emily. We're not going to jump right into the water stuff. We're going to get things going with the chat, with the conversation here. I'll bring you up, and then I'm going to make sure that other people, let me change some settings here. Let's see. Okay. All right, Emily, I sent you an invite to be able to hop up. So whenever you're ready, feel free to hop up. But we are going to be talking about autism today. Any questions you have about autism, go ahead and put it in the chat. But we are doing something special today, you guys. This is going to be a discussion about water safety. Okay, we're going to be talking about how to keep our kids safe who have autism. But on top of that, we are also able to talk about anything with autism. If you are in here, I am curious, where are y'all from? I like to start the lives here to see who's here from where. Go ahead and put in the chat where you're from. What state are you from, or what country are you from? If you're not in the United States, let's see who we have in here. Pennsylvania, Arizona, California, UK, Texas, Florida, Ohio. Guys, we got people from all over the place. Florida, some more California, Oklahoma, Kansas, Belgium, Visify. That's pretty cool. That's really awesome. A little bit about me as you guys are putting this in the chat. So my name is Kylan. I'm an autism dad. I got 2 kids with autism. I have 2 kids who are not diagnosed with autism. And I've been working with people with autism for the past 13 years. And I'm a board certified behavior analyst. I have a master's degree in autism studies, and I'm the CEO at a company that provides services to people with autism. And so what we do here is we go live every day for a couple hours, and we talk about autism. So go ahead, put any questions you have about autism into the chat. Emily, as soon as you're ready, I did send you an invite to be able to come up. If you don't see it, let me know, and I'll request again. But feel free, everybody, put any questions you have about autism. Something that we do is as soon as we get to 20,000 likes, I go through the autism news of the day. So go ahead and be tapping on that screen. And as soon as we get to 20,000, I'll go through the daily news of the day. Oh, Angelina, is it okay to hate myself for being autistic? Oh my gosh. Angelina, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I don't think it's okay for anybody to feel that way about themselves. Angelina, if you need a group to build you up, to make sure that you know that you are enough, this is the right place. You have real value. You are important. You are loved, Angelina. And please be a part of this village. I'm so sorry that you're feeling that way. Cuban says, I'm an adult with level 2 autism with catatonia and selective mutism. Cuban, oh my goodness. Thank you for sharing that. Thank you for being here. Oh, Vanessa. Thank you, Vanessa, for sharing that. Is demand avoidance an autistic trait, or is that something coming from my ADHD? Oh, failed. You should definitely talk about, or you should definitely look into PDA, pathological demand avoidance. And I think what it would do is it would help normalize that feeling that that the demand avoidance is something that you are just kind of a bad person or something like that for wanting to avoid demands. Pathological demand avoidance is a profile within autism. And a lot of people with autism have this, where any demand placed on them, especially from authority, it's this drive for autonomy of being your own person and not being told what to do. And when you are told what to do, it causes physical pain, a physical reaction of fight or flight. Not simply, oh, I don't want to do that, or hey, I'm rebellious. No, this is like if I asked someone to go put their hand on a hot stove, how they would act. All right, everybody. Thank y'all for being in here. Let's see. If anyone sees a comment from Emily, be sure to pin that one. I want to see if Emily is in here yet. I know she was hopping onto the Teams meeting to make sure everyone knows to come on to here. But all right, we are already at 4,000 likes. Thank you all. Once we get to 20,000, we'll go over the news of the day. Guys, this is a special version of my live stream today because we have a special guest that's coming up. Her name is Emily. I'll do an introduction when she comes up, but we are going to be talking about water safety as it relates to autism. If you're a parent of a kid with autism, this is one you're going to want to stick around for. Absolutely. All right, everybody. Oh, wow. Vanessa says, I'm receiving ABA therapy to help with SIB, but my family has never seen me. Vanessa, I am so sorry that you're struggling with that, and props to you for getting the therapy and supports that you need. Wow, that's amazing. Aniyaku says, how do you detox at home? Guys, this is something that may be controversial, but I'm very protective of people with autism, and I'm protective of autism parents because a lot of pressure is put on people in this community. And one of those pressures that I don't feel is warranted is the detox trend. And I think it's expensive, and I think it goes beyond what the evidence and the science says to do. Autism is not caused by toxins and is not something that can be detoxed from. And so that's something that I invite people not to worry about. Liz says, I have a 9-year-old son who wants to go backwards instead of forward. Are you talking about walking backwards, Liz? Are you talking about walking backwards? That's interesting. How can you get a level 2 autism 3-year-old to stop hitting you? Zanafia, that is a really good question. That is such a good question. And I want you to know that, first of all, any 3-year-old will absolutely hit at times, and it's something that we can work on with kids. But the key that I want to remind autism parents is that behavior quite often is communication. Now, sometimes people engage in behavior just because it feels good, right? The hand flapping, people, that's not communication. That is regulation. But most behavior that we see, like hitting people, that can be communication. And so you need to ask yourself, what are they trying to communicate, and how can we support them so that they are able to not have to engage in that behavior to communicate what they're trying to say. Oh, Destiny, you're right. Ask Gen X. They'll just tell you to hit back. Don't do that, you guys. Don't do that. Good morning, Emily.
Good morning, everyone.
It's good to see you on here. Before I introduce you, I need to tell a story because it just reminded me of this Destiny's comment. So hold on one second, Emily. We're gonna get to Emily, our adaptive swim teacher, who is in here to answer questions about swimming. You guys, be putting questions in the chat. She'll be keeping her eye out for any swim or water safety related questions. Okay, Emily, can you keep your eye on the chat? And if there's any in there, just keep those in mind, and we can be talking about those. And go ahead, everybody, please, if you could hit her a follow really fast so she can be able to turn on her screen if she wants to. I don't know if you're prepared to do that, Emily, but I think she only needs 40 more followers. So hit her a follow, and that would just help her be able to get there quicker. But Destiny, I needed to address your comment because someone asked, how do I get my 3-year-old to stop hitting? And you said, yeah, some people would say hit him back, and, promoting some like spanking or things like that. I have a funny story. My wife one time was at a concert, and she was observing people next to her. Brooklyn, you can correct me if any of my story is wrong, but there was a little kid, a little girl, who was hitting her brother or her dad or something, and her dad turned to her and swatted at her and smacked her, and then pointed at her and said, "We do not hit in this family." And I don't know. I just every time I think about spanking, that's what comes to my mind is how hypocritical that statement is we do not hit in this family. All right, you guys. All right, everybody. We have Emily here. Emily is an amazing person. She has a big background in autism as well as water safety. So my company in Utah that I run, we are opening up our 4th clinic. Now, my favorite clinic, Emily, don't tell any of our employees I said this, but my favorite clinic is the one we purchased last year in Ogden, Utah. Oh my gosh, what is that? Green eyes, my goodness, thank you for that rock star. So the Ogden clinic is interesting because it actually has a pool inside of the clinic, and we do therapy for kids with autism there, and we have an indoor pool there that we can work on some things. And so I absolutely love it. Like, the water safety stuff is so important. And what we did is I wanted to find the absolute best person who knew how to help kids with autism learn how to swim and be safe in the water. And I ended up hiring Emily. And so she's here in the chat. She runs our water program for my company in Utah. And she has a lot of specialization in this. So Emily, I don't know, can you give yourself a little bit more of an introduction better than what I just said? Tell us a little bit about yourself and why you're interested in water safety stuff. And why does it matter so much for kids with autism?
Thanks so much for having me on here. I grew up with an older brother who has autism, and he was water seeking. He eloped a lot as a child. I have so many stories of my mom having to jump in the pool right after my brother jumps in when he was a young boy. I actually did the same sometimes too. And so she said that we always gave her a scare. But, there's stories of my brother, at the lake, disappearing and being near the water when they did find him, and luckily safe and not in the water, but just super scary stories. And so that was something I always, was aware of growing up and the risks. And when I was 16, I started teaching swim lessons and loved it. And I quickly fell in love with teaching those with disabilities, especially. And I got hired specifically at pools that were therapeutic pools or clinics specializing to teach those with disabilities and um, like autism, cerebral palsy, just any kind of disability. And I quickly, grew a passion for that specifically. I learned of the higher risks that they have of drowning, and the tragedy that is. And so I just researched and, got my own certifications to be able to help support the community and parents on how can we prevent this tragedy and what can we do to help empower these children to learn to swim. And so, yeah, that's like my background with that and why I love teaching swim.
And you do a good job with it. I've seen you with the clients, and I mean, they all love you and beg to get in the water as much as we can. And, it's a lot of fun. All right, you guys, let me respond to some of these comments here coming in, and then we are going to continue with this discussion about water safety. Guys, if you're new here, be sure to hit me a follow. Also hit Emily a follow. We want to get her to a place that she can turn her screen on. So let me know, Emily, where you're at with the followers. I don't know how close we are, but I think she just needs like 30 more followers or something. So we could get that really quick and she could get her camera on here. But let's go ahead and answer some other questions. Oh my gosh, Daniel, this is terrifying. My daughter is that way. She even tries to get in the water at the aquarium petting pools. Oh my gosh. Yes, guys, this is a big deal for people with autism. I says, is autism inherited? Guys, we are talking about water safety, but any questions around the table right now? We will ask anything. So is autism inherited? We do know that autism is 80 to 90% genetic, meaning it is within the genes that can be inherited. It can be a gene mutation, but it is mostly just in the genes. All right, you guys. Where do you teach swim? So we are in Utah, and so Emily works in our clinic in Ogden, Utah, where we do therapy for kids with autism, but we also have an indoor pool that we work on water safety. All right, you guys. Well, let me ask you this, Emily. Why is this so important? Why are we talking about water safety when it comes to kids with autism?
Yeah, it's such a great question. There are some really, really, really sad statistics that I will share as to why we really emphasize this with those with autism. So,
And
drowning.
by the way, don't you can say drown, but we can't say other words for unalive. We have to say unalive instead, or else they'll restrict my live. So just a
Okay,
heads up.
good to know.
Yeah.
um,
Not a big deal if you slip once or twice, but yeah.
Okay, good to know. Well, for individuals with autism, they have 160 times higher chance of drowning, and it's typically due to water and sensory seeking and elopement. And because of that, we talk so much about what can we do to help prevent this tragedy. I mean, I'm sure so many parents with autism totally understand. And as growing up with a brother with autism, I witnessed a lot of this stress that was put on my mother, where quickly my brother slipped out of the house or slipped out of the area of supervision, and it happened within a matter of seconds. And going from, oh, I had my eyes on him to he was gone, it can happen so quickly. And so that's why we talk so much about this water safety. And like I said, it's typically due to this water seeking and sensory seeking. And another thing too is that the water, there is something called hydrostatic pressure. So essentially, as you go deeper and deeper in the water, it's like a blanket around you, right? Everyone can feel this. You go deep under, your ears pop, right? And the pressure continues to increase. And for those that have autism, that kind of sensory input throughout all of their body is so satiating, meaning that it is so satisfying for them. They love it so much that they will choose to stay underwater and to continue to go deeper and deeper instead of coming up for a breath of air, because that breath of air does not compare to the sensory input that they're receiving through that hydrostatic pressure.
It's wild to me. That is so crazy. And I'm curious, people in the chat, if you have autism, well, maybe we'll do this first, and then I'm going to ask this question to follow up on Emily's comment here. But put 1 in the chat if you're an autism parent, Put 2 in the chat if you have autism or suspected autism. Put 3 in the chat if you're just here to learn. Let's see who we have. Let's see who we have here. Oh, and Lexi says swimming lessons with an RBT can be so helpful. That's what we're doing. That's what we're doing at our company in Utah. Okay, 1, 2, and 3. Yeah, we got people. We got all these people. Okay, if you answered 2, I'm curious. Does this resonate with you? Like, how does it feel to be submerged in water? Is there something satisfying sensory wise with being underwater? If you put 2 in there, I'm curious, and maybe it's not universal, but I'm curious if you put 2, if you have autism, is that something you've noticed before? Sophia says yes. That's awesome. I love that. And the quiet and the pressure. Oh, Carly, that's a good point. The quiet, probably like finally having quiet, the world is so loud and then you go underneath and it's quiet. Michelle says yes. My name is Annie says yes, but also scary. Mama says yes, put bricks on me too. It feels like a giant weighted blanket. Oh my gosh. What a cool thing that we can learn about here. Anna says, just joined. What is your experience, please? Okay, if you're just joining, let me give a quick little breakdown of what we're doing today. So I am an autism dad. I have 2 kids with autism. I'm also a board certified behavior analyst, and I run a company in Utah that provides services to people with autism. I'm also an autism advocate. I meet with legislators all the time. Monday, I have a meeting with a senator in Utah to talk about some things. I'm just very involved in the autism community. Emily is on here, and she is the true expert, the most expert of anyone I've ever met on water safety, on swimming, and making sure kids with autism and other disabilities are safe in the water. So she is up here to answer questions related to water. So Emily, are you seeing any questions or comments that are interesting to you that you have any comments on?
I just love all the comments where everyone's like relating to this fact, right? It's so interesting how much it really does apply to everyone. I mean, every person with autism has, their own specific needs. And so not every child or adult with autism might feel the same towards this, but we have seen this higher in those with autism. But like I said, everyone is different. And so you might also see those that it's too much input. And so they might be not seeking the water as much.
Yeah, I love it. Deleted says, with autism, we're autistic though. Okay, so we're able to say autistic people with autism. I think either one is okay. The reason deleted, just so you're aware, I know it almost, the with autism, it's a trade-off because people first language saying that you are a person with autism, it makes you a person. It makes it so it's not just your full identity. The problem with that is some people don't like that it kind of sounds like it's something that you have, like it's a disease. And so I understand both ways and just understand people's perspective that everyone with autism or diagnosed with autism kind of have different preferences on that. And so deleted, if I talked to you in person, I'd make sure I'd call you an autistic person. So all right, let's see. Tex says, my mom confirmed I hated my face being wet as a baby. Okay, yeah. I mean, everyone has different backgrounds here. Okay, Natalie has a good question. What qualifications should I consider for swimming lessons for a small child with autism? Do you have thoughts on that, Emily? Like if someone wants to get their child into swimming lessons and they have autism, what should they be looking for?
Yeah. Some programs specifically have an adaptive program that is specific to teaching those with disabilities. And I would always encourage looking into those. However, some, areas might not have that specialization. So I would say looking for programs that specialize in teaching water safety skills. It's one thing to learn to swim, but to be able to use it effectively and in emergencies, right? That's what we're trying to prepare these children for is what if they accidentally fall in the water, and that shock and that panic that they may feel, like, how can we help prepare them for that? Or if they fall into maybe not a pool, but maybe a lake or, at the beach, how can we help prepare them for that? And so focusing on, those water safety essentials like back floats and rolling over from their stomach to their back, being able to swim across the pool, however it may look, to grab the wall and climb out. And so these are just some of the tips. We can dive into this a little bit more too, but just looking for programs that are going to really, really, really focus on that water safety survival. And then also looking for programs that are open-minded and wanting to learn and work with your child. If you have a child with disabilities that's coming in and they're like, well, I don't really think, we can do much for them, right? That might not be the best swim program, but finding a swim program that is like, we've never done this, but we're willing to learn together, right? That shows hope and a willingness to learn that I think, as you guys work together, your child will be so successful.
Love that. Now, if they're looking for the best of the best, right? If they want to find someone who really knows what they're doing, like from what you've told me and from what I've learned is one of the best out there is it Angel Swim? What is the certification?
Yeah, Swim Angel Fish is a wonderful certification. I'm level 1 certified. They have 4 levels, and once an instructor has completed all 4, they're considered a swim whisperer. On their website, you can actually look at who's in what area and find a swim instructor near you. So that way you can get swim lessons from an instructor who has been trained specifically to work with those with any disability.
Love that. That's and what should people look for, or what's the website that they can go on to find that? They can just Google Swim Angelfish.
Yes.
Okay, so Google Swim Angelfish. You can go on their website and you can find a certified swim teacher near you. So Nat had a good question, and I can kind of rephrase this another way. How do you teach if the child is nonverbal or minimally verbal, doesn't take directions? So is it possible to help someone increase their water safety skills if they cannot verbally communicate? What do you think, Emily?
Absolutely. A lot of things that, I've done is building what we call a PEX program. So it's a picture exchange system. Essentially, it's like if we're going to try and have them learn to kick on their stomach, we might have a little image of a kid kicking and helping them understand that every time, I show them that or they pick that, that's what we're going to do. So that's been really effective for me. Those visuals, right? A visual schedule can help them stay on track because then they can visually see what we're going to do next. A lot of times, like I've seen parents who have worked with their, if they have an ABA team, right, a behavioral analyst that is helping their child with that kind of skill building and communication. Sometimes they have brought their programs to me, and I've just continued to implement them in the swim lesson as well.
Love that. All right, you guys, if you are just coming in, I'm going to be doing this a lot just because I want to make sure everyone just coming in is aware of what we're doing today. So on this live, we talk about autism. Any question about autism is on the table. Right now, we are giving priority to questions that have to do with swimming or water safety for kids with autism. I'm an autism dad. I'm an autism advocate. I'm a board-certified behavior analyst, and I'm a CEO. And on the live here, we have Emily, and she is a Angelfish Level 1 certified, a Swim Angelfish Level 1 certified adaptive swim teacher who helps kids with autism and other disabilities learn how to swim. And so we have a lot of expertise here that we want to be talking about swimming and water safety. Feel free to put those questions in the chat and we will try to find them. I am curious though, who here is just barely finding me? If I just came across your For You page today and you're new here, put FYP in the chat. Put FYP in the chat, For You page. If you are new here, I want to see who all is new. Also, as soon as we get to 20,000 likes, we're at 18,000 now. Once we get to 20,000, we do go over the daily autism news. And so we are very close to getting there. A lot of people just barely found us. Okay, great. Make sure I go live daily at around the same time, noon Eastern time. Sundays, it's a little bit later. But every other day of the week, 7 days a week, I do go live. Hit right here where it says follow. You don't even have to leave this page. You can just hit follow and find me next time that I go live. And also make sure that you're following Emily here. We're very close to being able to get her to be able to turn on the camera. She is brand new to TikTok, you guys. She is new to TikTok. And so if you are here, you can even unfollow her later if you don't want to follow her. But she is if she gets to 100, she can turn on her camera. She's at 75 followers. She needs 25 people who are kind enough to go on over there and just hit her a follow real quick, and that will help her be able to turn her camera on. Okay, everybody, and a lot of people are new here. Thank you all if you're just barely tuning in. This is great. This is awesome. I appreciate everyone being here. All right, so here's a question that I have for you, Emily. I'm curious if you did you call them barriers of protection? I've heard you talk about this. There are 5 barriers of protection. Is that right? Can you break those down of what does that mean and briefly describe what those 5 barriers of protection are?
Absolutely. Yeah. So when we say 5 barriers of protection, it's what are the 5, steps and tips that we can do and follow to help ensure that we're doing everything in our power to prevent drowning. This doesn't necessarily mean that drowning is never going to occur, right? There might be some freak accidents and situations that we weren't able to control, but this is the 5 things that we can control to help prevent drowning. So, kind of just going over those 5, we got barriers of protection, being barriers and alarms around pools. So we talk about, when you have a backyard pool, right? We want to put up a fence that goes around this pool that is sturdy and tall. Having alarms on doors as well, leading to a pool can help let parents know, oh, hey, someone's entering this pool area. With these barriers, if a child does enter the backyard pool area or anywhere where there's a pool without your knowledge, that barrier is going to prevent them from getting into the water. So that's the first one. The second one we have is supervision. So when we're, swimming in a pool or the ocean, wherever you guys might be, we want to make sure that supervision is never assumed. If you are not able to provide that one-on-one direct supervision, then we need to assign a specific responsible adult who is going to then take over that responsibility. Supervision should be intentional and it should be individual. And so we want to avoid supervising 3 kids at once.
Let me pause you here. There are 2 of those so far. After this, the second one, let's pause. I got to get to the news of the day, but I'll let you finish the second one, then we'll jump back in after the news of the day.
Yeah, of course. It's important that we also understand that lifeguards don't substitute for any sort of supervision. They monitor the pool and they can provide that first aid response, but they can't provide the individual supervision that a child requires. So we want to just make sure that we're within proximity, but we're also keeping a specific eye on them, right? We're watching them and we're being aware of what they're doing in the water and where they're at all times.
Yes. Very cool. And to find out the other 3, you're just going to have to wait just a moment because we are at the portion of this live stream of going through the daily autism news. And after I do this, Lexi, I don't know if you're willing to come up and share some of your experience because it's going to have to do with what we're going to talk about. But after I read this, then we're going to have Emily finished the 5 barriers, and then I want Lexi to come up and share some of her experience. I'll send you an invite right now, Lexi. But all right, so the news of the day, it's kind of repeating one that I did, but not really. So there is a 9-year-old girl that I reported on the other day on this, that I talked about this news article, that she was in Kentucky. She was nonverbal. And she eloped. She ran away. I'm curious in the chat, if you're an autism parent, put elope in the chat. If your child has a history of eloping, I think this is more common than people realize. I would be putting elope in the chat. Elopement is terrifying. So this 9-year-old girl, she eloped, and a huge, I think there were 3,000 people that came out, a search party that night to find her. She was later found in a local pond nearby her house. She had drowned. And, oh man, it's terrifying. advocates say that water should always be searched first. If your child elopes, something that is really good to know. Emily's talking about supervision. If your child does leave and you're not supervising them, the very first place that you should run to is water sources. Very scary. Now, this news article that I'm reporting on is different than just that one. There's a news article reporting that so far this year, this is the 11th child who has passed away from eloping. Of those 11 children, 9 of them, and this is just this year in the United States, and 9 of those who passed away, of the 11, drowned. 9. There have been 9 autistic children this year in the United States who have drowned. Drowning is the leading cause of unaliving for children with autism. They're 160 times more likely to drown than their neurotypical peers. So that is why we're talking about this, you guys. Please make sure that you share out this live. Lexi, I don't have the same view on the live screen. How do you share, or do you share lives or repost? How does it work? Where do they click to do that? Can you tell people how to share this out to people?
Yes, there's 2 ways to share. The first way to share is if you go to the bottom right-hand side of your screen, you're going to see a little arrow that shows the number 30 right now. If you click on that arrow, there's going to be an option that is going to say repost, and you can click on the repost, and that will repost it and get it out to the FYP page. You can also click on that same exact arrow, and you can, instead of selecting repost, you'll see that that'll say share, and there will be people. So if there's specific people that you think would find this interesting or could use this information, you can share it directly to the people just by clicking on as many as you want or need, and then clicking the share separately button, so that way each one can get a separate invite to join. And then the last way to also share it is in the same section. If you select the option to share to your story or add to story, it will add it to your story and other people can view it.
Oh, there we go. Lexi, oh my gosh, you know so much, and thank you for coming up and helping out. We're going to have Lexi share a story here in just a minute. But if everyone would please share the live out to people, repost it. Let's get this out. I don't usually ask people to do that, but we are talking about a topic that will save lives. Oh my gosh, thank you for the hand hearts. I appreciate that. All right, everybody. We are, if you're just barely joining in, let me give a quick little rundown of what we're doing. We are talking about autism. If you have questions about autism, you can put them in the chat. The questions we are prioritizing answering today, we could answer any of them, but the ones that we are prioritizing today are about swimming and water safety. Those are the questions we're going to be prioritizing today. We have Emily up here. How many followers is Emily at now? Emily, you getting close to 100?
I have, I think, 82 right now.
Oh my goodness. We just need 18 people to follow her so that she can turn her camera on, you guys. So if you could give her a quick follow, that would be great. Why don't you, Emily, tell us one more of the barriers? You had talked about, I believe, these are 5 barriers of protection to promote water safety. The first one was like physical barriers and alarms. The second one was supervision. Give us the third one, and then I'm going to turn it to Lexi to share a little story with us.
Yeah. This one I actually consider to be one of the most important barriers of protection, and is water competency, meaning knowing how to swim. It is one of the most important protections against drowning. Life-saving water skills build confidence and safety for these children. And just knowing that like every skill that a child learns, like maybe they aren't able to fully swim independently, but if they've learned to hold their breath for even just 10 seconds in the water, this can provide responders with valuable additional time to reach and rescue them. So every skill that a child learns in the water does increase their chances of survival because it allows for more time.
Love it. Love it. Love it. Wonderful, wonderful. Okay, everybody. One thing that I'll point out with that one too, though, the water competency is if you're getting into, because this one relates to swim lessons, right?
Yes.
Okay, so I don't know if you saw these comments, Emily, but because of your statements that you made about swim angelfish, 2 people commented saying they've already found a local swim angelfish instructor near them who can support their child.
Good. That is so good. That makes me so happy.
Isn't that cool? That's amazing,
Yeah.
you guys. So you can, so if you want someone who specializes in autism or disabilities, you are able to go on to search for swim angelfish, and you can go on their website and find certified instructors for adaptive swim, teaching people with special needs, people with disabilities, to be able to swim. So go ahead, look that up. Let's see how many people we can have come back and report to us that they have found a person near them who can support them. So,
Yeah.
oh, there we go. We
I
also have POAC Autism Education that says Swim Angelfish also has so many videos that help. That's great. That's very cool.
Yes.
Sorry to cut you off, Emily.
And then no, that's okay. I saw Yaya Creates said still supervise though you believe your child is competent, which is so true. So just because like a child knows how to swim, we want to make sure we'll talk about the 4th and 5th barrier protection in just a little bit, but we want to make sure we're following all of these barriers of protection, just because following one doesn't guarantee that we're doing everything within our power to prevent drowning. And so a child might know how to swim, but they could get tired, right? Or when they fall in the water, maybe they fall in a way that makes them disoriented and unable to come up immediately, and they might in panic swallow water or cough on it. And so we want to make sure that, like Yaya Creates has mentioned, that we are still supervising. So thank you for bringing that up.
Yeah, very good point. Very good point. Guys, why are we talking about this? Why are we talking about water safety? Well, we know it's scary. We know this is real. We know that people are being impacted. We know that it is one of the biggest risks that our children all face if you have a child with autism. And I wanted Lexi to come up. Stephanie, Emily needs 12 more followers. Okay, guys, only 12 more people need to follow Emily so that she can turn her camera on, you guys. That's exciting. Keep it going. If you guys are able to hit her a follow really fast, she could have her camera on like right now. So hopefully it works. So Lexi, I wanted to turn some time over to Lexi. Lexi, thank you for being willing to share. She has shared with me before this story. Please just know, be polite, be kind. This is not something easy to talk about, but I wanted, Emily, people are asking you to comment something in the chat, and that way it's easier to follow you. I don't know. Okay. I'm not quite sure how that works, but Lexi, thank you for being willing to be vulnerable and share a story with us.
No problem. Thank you for having me up. Water safety is definitely very important, and it's something definitely. Yes, you got. Sorry, you got $5. Good job. Because of the tooth fairy. Sorry, my son lost his tooth yesterday, so he's just waking up and realizing that he got money from the tooth fairy. So
no way.
Yes. And it has glitter all over it, so he's kind of like not really into it right now because sorry about that.
I'm so glad that the tooth fairy remembered to come, because the tooth fairy at my house, I think my house doesn't show up very well on the maps or something that the tooth fairy follows, because my kids have learned pretty quickly that the tooth fairy has to pay interest if they don't end up showing up to the house. So well done, tooth fairy, for showing up.
Well, the tooth fairy remembered when he was in the bathroom just a couple minutes ago and just was
Oh,
So
that's good.
this tooth fairy also has issues.
Oh, that's amazing.
But yeah, I just wanted to get up here and kind of share my story, kind of bring, a little bit of like personalization into this particular topic. Water safety has been something that has been on my mind personally, not just because of the news, which has a great part to do with it, but also because I've experienced drowning in a child with autism. With my experience, it was very difficult. It was a family gathering. We had family around, so there was adults around. Um, but I left my child in the pool with my niece for a couple of seconds to just grab my keys and give them to my mom. And when I turned back around, I realized that my niece hadn't wasn't keeping her hands on him like I had asked her to. She's 15, so she's young, but she's old enough. And unfortunately, in that split second that it took me to get out of the pool and hand my mom the keys and turn around, my son had started to drown. He had gotten out of his floating device and was literally sinking to the bottom of the pool in front of my own eyes. Um, I kind of saw it in slow mo at the moment it was happening. And of course, my first instinct and reaction was to get into the pool and pull him out. However, when I did pull him out, I did notice that his lips were turning purple. So I had to do CPR on him, and my brother ended up calling 911. And we had, ambulance, firefighters, police officers, and everything. They had to take him to the hospital and do an overnight observation to ensure that the fluid or the water didn't get into his lungs that could cause him internal drowning, is what they called it. So sometimes if enough water gets into your lungs, you don't drown. Like you can have CPR and resuscitate and everything like that, but sometimes water stays in the lungs and you can drown from the inside out, which I honestly didn't know about before this experience. Um, and it was just very difficult at the hospital. You have everything's going on. They're trying to, help your child and everything, and you're just kind of stuck there. And it's a horrible feeling. I definitely don't wish this upon anybody. And if we can spread awareness to how dangerous this comforting thing for our children is, and we can be more aware of how to help them when they're in situations like around water. I think that it's great what you guys are doing, and I really appreciate everything you guys are doing for our community.
Lexi, thank you for sharing that. And I I know that's hard to talk about, and I cannot imagine doing CPR on my own kid. I can't imagine doing CPR on anyone, but seeing, the lips becoming discolored and having, the chaos of emergency responders showing up. And I also think it's important that we highlight and guys, put hearts in the chat, please. Show your love to Lexi for sharing that. I think that's important that we show this love and support, especially that Lexi, that you did everything right. There's nothing that we hear from this and say like, oh my gosh, like Lexi, I can't believe you would do that. Like you did everything right. And even when we do everything right, it can still, be a terrible situation. But you saved your kid. You saved his life. And thank you for being open and willing to talk about it. I think what it does to us parents is hopefully hearing this, it like if you've joined this live before, you probably have seen Lexi up here. I really like her take on a lot of things. She comes up often. And I think it's important that we recognize this is a real issue. This is a real problem that a lot of people are experiencing. This isn't some abstract thing that just happens in the news. Kids with autism are not safe quite often around water, and it's something we need to be aware of and know how to address. So, Lexi, thank you for sharing that. Do you have any overall thoughts that you want to share? Maybe advice that you have for parents that you have learned through that experience before I drop you down.
Yeah, to that experience, I definitely agree with everything that Emily said. Super in that second step, bringing it back. Supervision is definitely important. And like something she said was, don't assume that because there's adults around, all adults have their eyes on the kids, and that really, honestly, in that experience, tying that back to what Emily is saying and teaching us today is really important. Unfortunately, us parents of children who have autism know that we can't even go to the bathroom by ourselves, because they're getting into things or whatever. So with water, like safety, and with safety with water, I think it's even more, we have to have our senses a little bit more heightened. So if your child is a snacker, or if your child is probably going to want water, yeah, you're going to be that crazy lady like me that has a big old bag that I carry with all of his stuff in it every time I go to the pool. But at least you have it accessible and visible and have it close to you, because any just 1 second really makes a huge difference. And so we have to be aware. And I'm taking notes, I'm following everything Emily's saying, and I suggest that everybody really really listen. If you don't take notes, I'm a note taker, so but if you don't take notes, just listen and to her information, and everything that we can do for our children to help them being safe around water could help us avoid these types of situations. So make sure you guys listen. And if you're not following Emily, I don't know what you're doing, go over and follow her so she can turn her camera on. That would be amazing. And I'll see you guys in the comments.
Thank you so much, Lexi. Like always, I appreciate you being up here. All right, Emily, are you at 100 yet?
I think I'm at 92 right
Oh my
now.
gosh,
Really
92, you
close.
guys. She needs 8 more followers so she can turn her camera on. You guys, just hit follow real fast for her. Okay, something I do want to share though. If you have not been able to listen to this whole live, that is okay. We actually filmed a webinar where Emily goes through all of this stuff. Okay? And right now, you can go into my bio and it says free water safety webinar. You can click on that and it will email you the link to watch that webinar. You can do it on your own time, and you're able to watch the whole thing. So, because I know today we're kind of answering questions, we're jumping around, it's not the full picture. She has, a PowerPoint made that she goes through about these 5 barriers, and only 4 more followers for Emily. You guys, come on, just hit her a follow real quick. We appreciate that support. I do want to, although we are talking water safety a lot today, I do want to make sure we answer other questions too. I did see, let's see, Justine Brewer, who says that her young child just got diagnosed. Is that right, Justine? I'm wondering. She is wondering if ABA is right for her child. Let me break this down, you guys. So if you just got diagnosed, if your child just got diagnosed with autism, what do you do next? Well, what I want to tell you is that you have just gotten a promotion. Congratulations. If your child was just diagnosed with autism, you have now been promoted to care team manager. What this does not mean is you do not have to be the expert at everything. If you have ever been a manager or have a manager at work, managers don't always know the most. you don't have to know the most about autism, but what you do have to know is how to find the best experts to help your child. You don't need to get into a bunch of crazy stuff. You don't need to learn everything you can all at first. What you need to do is surround yourself with the best experts. There are 4 frontline therapies that I recommend for kids with autism. The first is ABA therapy. I recommend it. If you're worried, if you've heard mixed things, let me tell you some of the summaries of the people's concerns with ABA. The biggest is that historically ABA has over-focused on masking behaviors, which tends to look like stopping kids from stimming, making them make eye contact, things like that. The other concern is addressing things that are not developmentally appropriate. Kids with autism don't need to sit at a table if they're 2 years old for hours on end. I mean, they need to play and play hard. Fortunately, the ABA field has evolved a lot, and you can trust that ABA is great for your child as long as you are looking at the goals and making sure that 1, they're not promoting masking, and 2, there's not an overemphasis on compliance and things that are not developmentally appropriate. So that is ABA therapy is one of those frontline therapies. The other 3 that I recommend looking at is occupational therapy, speech therapy if your child struggles with communication, and if your child can verbally communicate and has concerns with anxiety or depression, I recommend mental health therapy. Oftentimes, if it's with a kid, they will look at doing that through play therapy, but it's still mental health therapy. Emily needs just 2 more followers, you guys. Hit her those 2 followers. And then, Emily, once you get to 100, you might need to drop down and then come back up if it doesn't let you turn the camera on. But we believe once she has 100, she can turn her camera on. Justine says, yes, we are in speech and in OT. He is getting an AAC device. Wonderful. Justine, you are doing everything for your child. This is so cool. ABA therapy, look, people worry about how long the hours are. If they're doing it right, if it's through play, kids love going to ABA therapy. My kid cries when he has to leave ABA therapy. So, all right, let's see here. All right, you guys. Bad, thank you for that reminder. We do have a Facebook group, and we also have a Discord chat. And so go ahead and join those if you can. Emily, what's it looking like for you? Is it going to let you turn it on or no?
I have 100 followers, but it is not give me an option to turn my camera on.
Let's see here. All right. Darn. I think what might have to happen, it might have to be the next day or something. And so Thank you all for following her, and we'll bring her up here again. And Emily, anytime you ever want to, if you ever see me live, you can always hop on, and we can schedule another time to do this as well. But she has gone through 3 of the 5 barriers that we recommend, or that swim experts recommend that we address with water safety. Hold on. Hazel says, which one is better, OT or ABA? They address different things. There is some overlap. OT tends to be more focused on meeting sensory needs. If your child has really high sensory needs that need to be met, they have a great pool of tools that they can recommend to meet sensory needs. ABA therapy is really good at general skill development and reducing problem behaviors. They can work on communication. They can also work on some sensory needs. So there is overlap, but one of the biggest differences, the model of how it's delivered. ABA therapy tends to be more intensive. And so they can provide up to 30 hours, sometimes 40 hours a week of therapy for your child. And occupational therapy is usually an hour a week. So I don't think it's one is better than the other. It's just you got to recognize which one it addresses with. Both can work, and you want people who are willing to work with each other. If you talk to an OT and they hate ABA, I wouldn't work with that OT. The same as I wouldn't work with an ABA provider that hates OT. They can work really well together. All right, Emily, break us down the last 2 barriers here of how to help keep kids with autism safe around water.
Yeah, of course. So the 4th one I kind of want to dive into is life jackets. I know there's a lot of, different feelings towards life jackets. There's a lot of people that fear that, a life jacket might actually be the cause of drowning incidents sometimes. So I kind of wanted to dive into this just a little bit. When using life jackets, they need to be Coast Guard approved and they need to be fitted properly to the child and worn correctly. The times that I really recommend that life jackets are worn are when you're on a boat, near a pier, near open water, or in deep water, especially if skills are limited. I also recommend it if you're providing supervision, but you aren't able to be within arm's reach of a child who is not swim competent yet. Then I would definitely recommend a life jacket as well. Um, Another beautiful thing is that there's a lot of companies that have made adaptive life jackets that are available for individuals with physical disabilities. And so that
Wow.
is something I really love to talk about. If you have a child that maybe can't tolerate wearing one, sometimes due to the feeling of it on their skin, I always recommend wearing a shirt underneath. And sometimes that can really help a child be okay wearing one.
I love that. I look, that advice has helped me a lot. Or I heard it the other day, and it's going to help guide my decision because I've always wondered, like, when you're at this like indoor pool, they're playing in the toddler area. I don't know when do we actually put a life jacket on our kid, and is it all the time? And Emily, I really like your advice of like use a life jacket if you cannot guarantee that you are going to be within an arm's length reach of your child at all times. So that is a great recommendation, and yeah. So thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, definitely. And then the last barrier of protection that Lexi actually in her story demonstrated is emergency preparation. She talked about how she had to perform CPR on her child. And so this is something that is so, so, so important. Calling 911 immediately in any drowning emergency is so important. Like she mentioned, they might be breathing again, but water can still remain in their lungs and can cause really, really, really horrible damage and injury if it's not addressed.
Yeah, haven't there been
And so
times where like they think that the kid is okay because they're breathing, and then they pass away later because there was still like water in the lungs or something?
yes, there have been stories of that occurring, and so that's
Oh,
why we always recommend, any sort of instance where any sort of drowning emergency might have occurred, whether if it's a non-fatal one where the child is still responsive, we want to make sure that we're still at least getting them checked out and making sure that their vitals are good and everything. There's no lasting damages that could occur.
oh, wow. Wow. Guys, make sure that you are CPR trained. I mean, going through first aid and CPR is so important if you have a child with autism. There are so many risks and stuff for our kids. They tend to be heedless to danger sometimes, and we need to keep them safe. All right, you guys, let's go ahead. I'm going to go through and answer some other questions. Go ahead, keep putting the questions in the chat. If they're water safety, I'll let Emily. If they're water related, I'll let Emily answer. But I'm going to go through. Emily, also, if you need to hop off at any time, feel free. I'm going to keep going, but we really appreciate Emily being here, going through all of this. There's a lot more questions I want to ask you, but again, I want to be sensitive of your time. So if you need to hop off, feel free to. But we're going to keep going here. So, Lexi's wondering, what was the last step called?
It is called emergency preparation.
There we go. So being ready to intervene if there is an emergency. So we're gonna keep answering questions though. Liz, I really need some help. Go ahead, put it in the chat. Ask us the questions, Liz. We'll definitely go through this. Let's see here. How do you feel about ABA therapy? Jessica, ABA therapy is wonderful. I do think that there people have some concerns with ABA therapy. There are some adults with autism who have concerns about ABA therapy because they went through it as a kid, and I don't blame them at all. There's some PTSD that people have from poor ABA that they got of over focus on compliance and masking. But currently, like there is some really good supports there with ABA. Okay. Oh, Liz, you did. Okay. I didn't see them. I know sometimes I'll scroll up a little bit. My 9-year-old son keeps having temper tantrums and meltdowns every day, all day and night long. Liz, I am so sorry. Is your kid sleeping? Oh yeah, Brooklyn, thank you. We'll make a flyer with these steps as well. Wonderful, wonderful. Yeah. Also, guys, in my link tree in my bio, there is a link to a full webinar done by Emily to break down some of this, and she actually has her camera on in that one, even though she can't hear on TikTok for some reason. Okay. Look, Liz, I want you to know that you are not alone. We have a village here. What does your child, first, let me break this down, Liz. Do you have a village? Are you alone handling this with meltdowns going on every day? I'm worried about you, Liz. I'm worried about you. We can talk about your kid, but first, I'm worried about you. Do you have a village? Do you have friends involved? Do you have family involved helping you out, or are you doing this alone? Okay, you're doing this alone. Look, Liz, I'm so sorry. That is the hardest part of this because you're working on fumes, you're burnt out, and then you're having to help regulate your child. You're going through a lot right now. What I want to recommend first is surround yourself with a village. If it needs to start online, it can start online. Join our Discord, join our Facebook. Links are in my bio. Come on these lives. And just feel the support of the other parents going through this. Okay, guys, Liz is having a hard time, and we need to show support to Liz. Guys, put Liz's name, put Liz and hearts in the chat, please. Let Liz know that she is not alone, that she's going through a hard time with her child. She doesn't have the support that she needs, but we can be a support here. Put hearts in the chat for Liz, you guys. Hearts in the chat for Liz. Let Liz know that we support her. We are here. We can be part of her village. We're here for you, Liz. The second thing is do you have an autism diagnosis, Liz, for your child? Is your child diagnosed with autism? If not, we need to go and get that diagnosis because it can open the door to supports. After that, what I'm going to ask you is what care team do you have involved? This is so much more than advice I can give you. There are real problems. Your son isn't sleeping. Tantrum meltdowns everywhere are going on. And on this live, I can't give full advice, but what I can say is we need a good pediatrician to rule out some medical problems that could be going on right now. Okay? We need to rule out some medical concerns. And hey, Rod, good to see you. Good to see you. As soon as we can rule out medical concerns, then we can start addressing behavioral concerns. Oh my gosh, what state are you in, Liz? They're on the ABA wait list. Okay, that was the next thing. You got to get the care team, and ABA is one of those supports. What state are you in, Liz? North Carolina. Okay. Anyone else from North Carolina here that have connections? Look, I would be. Let me tell you what to do, Liz. I once had someone come up here and tell me that they were on a wait list, that it was going to be months before they could get services. And I told them, how many wait lists are you on? They said 1. And I said, I want you to get off this call right now. And I want you to go and call 3 other ABA providers. And they did and found one that was open and ready to start serving and was already filling out the intake paperwork 30 minutes later. There are providers who really want to support you. So please keep on calling, keep on bothering them. Let them know how hard things are for you right now. And let's get you some of that support. That's my recommendation for you. All right, Emily, I want to jump back into some water safety stuff. And hopefully I'm not throwing you off guard here, but what is one tip that a parent could implement today to make it so that their child is safer around water? What is something that they could pull from this if they've been watching the past hour? What could they do right now? One thing that they could do to make it so that their child is just a little bit safer around the water.
Yeah, I would say, look at where you live and see, do you have a pool in your backyard? Do your neighbors have a pool in their backyard? Do you live near any sort of body of water, right? Being aware of where sources like that are. So then that way you can start, making sure that your child is with you when you are near those areas, or if your child elopes, that you're checking those areas first. Biggest thing is, we can do everything in our power to help prevent drowning, but sometimes children still slip through the cracks and they're able to elope or whatever, the situation may be. And so we want to make sure that we're ready to search those areas first. So that would be my number one piece of advice right now for you guys today is just be aware of what bodies of water are near you.
Love that. Love that. And I'm thinking right now, I don't even know. I don't think there's a ton around my house. But I think we have a little canal that runs through the town. I should kind of look at that. Okay, Denise says, I have questions. Can a nurse practitioner fully diagnose autism? Yes, a nurse practitioner can. If they're trained, not all nurse practitioners can, but if they specialize in autism and have the diagnosis or have the training to do the diagnosis. Lexi, that's a good question. Do you see Lexi's question there, Emily? How do we know if the life vest is appropriate for a child? What do you look for in a life jacket?
So once you put the life jacket on and you make sure all the straps are tightened and you zip up all zippers that might be included, you're going to have the person that's wearing this life jacket lift their arms over their head, and you're going to gently lift them by the top of the life jacket arm opening. So kind of the straps that go over their shoulders. And so if you see that the life jacket rides above their ears, then it's too big. If the straps or zippers don't close at all when you're trying to put this life jacket on, then you know the life jacket is too small.
Wow. That's good advice. Thank you. I think you also mentioned it has to be approved also by the Coast Guard. Is that who approves life jackets?
Yeah. So Coast Guard approved life jackets typically on their site, or even I think Amazon, a bunch of different sites will say Coast Guard approved. And so we'll want to make sure that we're getting life jackets like those.
Love it. Love it. Let's see. Oh, Ricefield says, I put my little one's medical records on the safety vest in case of elopement. Love that. Love it. 23 says, hello, my daughter is 8 years and still having meltdowns, getting worse day by day. Oh, I'm so sorry, 23. What tends to cause the meltdowns? What tends to cause the meltdowns? Give us some more info. We can talk about it. Mercedes says, our local sheriffs are now getting more training for autism. Oh, Mercedes, I love that. I love that. Here in Utah, the police have autism sensory kits in their vehicles, and they're required to have autism training on a weekly basis or on a annual basis. Weekly, that'd be cool. All right. Okay, everybody. I am thinking that our live probably got a restriction on it. We have seen it cut by about a third, and we are talking about a pretty sensitive topic. But we are going to keep going here for a little bit longer. But what I want everyone to do is to be tapping on that screen. Let's get the likes going. Be sharing if you can. Let's see if we can get this out to more people. I don't see a restriction that they said that we have, so it might be like a behind the scenes something. But all right, you guys. Let's see. Paige says, heard mixed reviews on puddle jumpers for swimming. Safe or no? Let me look at what puddle jumpers are. I don't even know what this is. What is a puddle jumper? Let's see.
It's a life jacket that goes on over the chest and the arms of a child, and it straps in the back, but the floating device only there's only the flotation support on the chest and the arms.
Oh, so they're considered less safe by many experts because they encourage a vertical drowning position rather than a horizontal swimming position and create a false sense of security. But they can be Coast Guard approved. I don't know. Do you have thoughts on them, Emily?
Yeah, so typically what I've read about these is they're Coast Guard approved when used on a boat. So biggest thing with puddle jumpers, they are for children weighing between 30 to 50 pounds typically. And They are only approved pretty much for boating activities, but they're not intended for like high-speed boating or any sort of rough water. But like Kylan did mention, from something that he just read right now, they do hold the children in a vertical upright position. So they can't substitute for like swim lessons or any sort of active adult supervision. They don't necessarily prevent drowning, like other kind of life jackets can. I've always seen when I've done swim lessons for children that use puddle jumpers, often in the water, that them learning to swim horizontally with their face in the water, kind of that position where they're able to kick and move across the water, is sometimes a little bit harder for them to learn because they've gotten in the habit of the position that the puddle jumper puts them in. So I'm not going to say like never use one, right? I would say do what the Coast Guard has approved it for. And I would recommend other life jackets first, especially because it can really make it a little bit more challenging for a child to then adapt to a different kind of swimming position when they do swim lessons.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. All right, you guys. What other questions do we have here? We're going to go ahead and be reading these comments, reading some questions. This has been great, Emily. You have a lot of really great advice. Is there anything that you were hoping to share that you have not shared on this live?
I honestly, someone commented earlier and I wanted to respond to it. I don't know. I hope they're still on here, but I think this will be probably the last thing I share for today, but they had said that their child likes to swim, but being on their back is super difficult. And kind of like I mentioned, like back floats are one of the most essential skills that a child can learn when it comes to water safety survival. And so there's a lot of reasons why being on their back can be so difficult, right? They might feel uncomfortable, they might resist it. And so I just kind of wanted to share a few tips with that. Sometimes it has to do with the water on their ears. So if that's the case, we can have the swim instructor, or if you're doing the teaching, you can have them slowly acclimate to water in their ears. But there's also like caps that can go around the ear if it really is something that they're struggling with primarily, and slowly decrease the reliance on that support system, so that way they do start to acclimate their ears to the water. Sometimes it's also a fear of losing control or not seeing their surroundings. The buoyancy of the water can, it's meant to support them, but sometimes it can make them feel like they're in outer space, right? They don't understand where their body is. So what I've seen, and I am really excited to try this because I have not had a chance to do this yet, but using wrist and ankle weights that are like 0.5 pound to 1 pound, depending on the size of your child, can really help them feel where they are in the water, and it won't really affect their ability to float. So sometimes doing that can help them feel like, okay, I understand where I'm in the water. And just
So what do
making
the
sure that
weights do? Why put weights on them?
it was something I learned in the swim angelfish training. It just helps them. I can't remember what the like specific words behind it, the science that all goes within it right now. But it helps them, the gravity, because the buoyancy is pushing them up, and so gravity, right? Those weights help push them back down to the
They can feel
water,
kind of
like the ground.
disoriented, not know like which
Yeah.
way is up, and yeah.
Yes. And so that kind of helps them to, it like equalizes, I feel like, that buoyancy and that gravity a little bit. And so that can be really, really, really helpful for children that are struggling on their back, especially if it's because of feeling that that buoyancy is too much. So these are just some of the tips that I have in the webinar. If you guys do watch that, I dive a little bit more into that as well.
Love that. Emily, thank you so much. One more time, I'm going to, you guys all put Emily and hearts in the chat. Give some hearts to Emily, you guys. I am so grateful that Emily could be here, be on the live. I'm going to have her back on here sometimes when she wants to come up and share any tips that she has on water safety stuff. But guys, this is a game changer. This is such an important topic to be learning about water safety for your little ones. In my bio, I have a link to the full webinar. It's free. You guys can go and watch it. We were supposed to do the full webinar today again, but we were having issues with the platform, and so we decided to have her come up on the live and just email out the full webinar if people are wanting to see that. And so thank you all for the hearts for Emily. Emily, thank you so much. Any last minute thoughts or anything else you want to say before you hop down?
I just want to say thank you guys all so much for asking questions and for being here. All of this information is so, so, so important. And we're here to help save lives and bring families peace of mind. So I would just say this information, share it with friends and with family, especially with those that have family members or loved ones with autism or any disability.
Love it. All right, Emily, thank you so much. I'm going to go ahead and drop you down. All right, you have a good one, Emily. All right, you guys, we are jumping back in here. We still have probably another half hour on here. If we can get some of the viewers back up, if it keeps going down, I'll just say that we got kind of shadow banned here. But if we can get some conversations back going, and if things are going well, we can keep going on this live. Guys, I love doing this. A little bit of an introduction about what we do. If you are new here, if you are just coming in, we answer questions about autism. We talk about autism. If you are an autism parent, if you suspect your child might have autism, or if you have autism, this is the place for you. We are your village. We are here to be talking about autism and to be answering questions. Toga P, sometimes we bring people up. Right now, feel free to just put those in the chat. We love to talk to people here in the chat is what we're going to be doing right now. Sarah says, hey, y'all, I'm about a week away from my son's evaluation results. I'll keep y'all posted. Sarah, oh my gosh. Okay, that's a big deal. Yes, I love that, Toga P. Please share your experiences. We'd love to hear it. Please put it in the chat. Sarah, how are you feeling? Are you feeling nervous? All right, you guys, I'm curious. I just want to do a little bit of a refresh. Please let me know where you're from. Let's put locations here in the chat. The state that you are in or the country that you are in. Put it in the chat. I want to see where everyone is. SL says thoughts on leucovorin, or however it's spelled. Yes, let me talk about leucovorin, you guys. Leucovorin is such a good topic to go through. Sarah says, I've been spiraling. Like, did they see enough? Do they understand what we're seeing? Sarah, look, they're going to have a good idea. They'll know. They'll know. Yeah. Guys, we have people from everywhere. France even. Okay, Florida and Russia, Georgia, Merida, Mexico, Tucson, Kenya, Ohio, Philadelphia. Amazing, you guys. Amazing. Thank you all for being in here. Let me talk on leucovorin for a second here. Okay? Let me share my thoughts on leucovorin. Leucovorin was a medication that's been being studied for years. It was widely popularized about 6 months ago or so during a press conference with RFK Jr. and Donald Trump in the United States. And in that press conference, they made 2 claims. Okay, they made 2 claims. One of those claims was that Tylenol during pregnancy is linked to autism, and then the other claim was that leucovorin can help treat autism. We know that first claim, after they had made that, after reviewing more data, that correlation that was viewed in one Harvard study was not replicated when ruling out confounding variables, which means that's the scientific way of saying there was a correlation, but it wasn't because of the Tylenol. There was something else going on causing that correlation to occur. It was slight correlation to begin with. But so that one, I don't want people worried about. It's more important that people with autism or mothers who are pregnant aren't scared of autism and that they can be comfortable and take Tylenol if they need it. But leucovorin, let me tell you my thoughts on this. There have been 5 randomized clinical trials addressing leucovorin so far, meaning in a randomized clinical trial, they give people with autism, half the people they give them a placebo, half the people they get leucovorin, then they measure the outcomes. There have been mixed results with some somewhat positive results. The largest study that showed positive results was unfortunately retracted a few weeks ago. So what that means is right now, the general consensus is that we are optimistic. There's potential that it could slightly help. But it is so mixed, not enough data yet, that it is not widely recommended that people use leucovorin. No major pediatric organization is recommending leucovorin by default for kids with autism. The FDA did not approve leucovorin. The only thing that they did approve was leucovorin for a rare genetic condition that isn't measured through the FRAT test or isn't measured through autism. It is a separate condition that it can help. All right, you guys. But I'm not mad at parents who try. I'm not mad at parents at all. There are some risks. I'm not doing it with my 2 kids with autism. All right, you guys. Kel says I didn't take Tylenol. My son's autism is genetic. Yeah, okay. So we know autism is largely genetic, right? 80 to 90% genetic. Kels also says I don't believe in a cure or detoxing. I accept him for who he is. Yeah, guys. I think we all want to support our kids with autism. And those who talk about detoxing or a cure or reversing autism, and those of us who talk about supporting autism, we all want the same thing. We all want our kids to be as happy as they can be. We want them to have as much contact with reinforcement as they possibly can. But the phrasing is important. I think one of my concerns with labeling it as, or the detox thing, is treating autism as though it's a disease, that it's like separate from who they are, that it's like a toxin clouding their brain, that we can understand who they really are if we can somehow get rid of this cloud over their brain. And that kind of attitude I'm not a fan of. It's just who they are, and we love them, we support them, we just want them to grow. What would be the supposed purpose of the leucovorin? Okay, unproblematic. That is a good question. So the theory behind leucovorin is that the underlying theory is that kids with autism have a deficiency in folinic acid, that the folinic acid is not getting to the brain. Now, there's a genetic condition that makes it so folinic acid just cannot get into the brain. Essentially, the door is closed to the brain for folinic acid. The theory behind autism is that there are antibodies in the body that are preventing folinic acid from getting to the brain. And so all that leucovorin is it's folinic acid. It's a prescription for folinic acid that can supplement it. Now, that sounds innocent enough. People say, oh, it's just a vitamin, so it can't hurt. The problem is there are documented side effects of leucovorin. Those can include increased agitation, aggression, and hyperactivity. And so it's not. There's still a lot of unknowns. I'm optimistic about it, but there is a test, the FRAT test, that measures the antibodies that are theorized to block folinic acid. Now, the FRAT test, although it can measure the antibodies, it has not been widely verified that those antibodies are actually correlated with a folinic acid deficiency in the brain. And so there is some question about the FRAT test on how accurate that actually measures the folinic acid deficiencies. So, guys, here's the big thing, though. The big takeaway I want you to have from all of this is we don't need to overthink. If someone is explaining to you why you need to buy something, and in that explanation, it is too complex to understand, that they're using scientific lingo in a way that they're saying it as though it's something everyone should understand, but it is complete and utter nonsense that you don't understand, that is something to stay away from. They're trying to sell you something. If their justification is, complex understanding of something, just be cautious about it, you guys. I really want autism parents to protect their time, their effort. To be very clear here, if your kid has autism, there is no standard recommended supplement, vitamin, medication, or diet for your child. There is no default recommended supplement, diet, medication, or vitamin simply because your child is diagnosed with autism. Let's see. It's either cure us or get neurotypicals to respect us, which seems less impossible. EJ, we need a fight. We need a fight to get make the world a more inclusive place. I say this all the time. I would not cure my son's autism. I would cure aspects of, the challenges he has, his sleepless nights, like last night that he couldn't sleep. He laid in bed. The behavioral aspect was there. He laid in bed for hours last night, wide awake. Poor kid. And so I would cure aspects of my kid's autism, but a lot of autism is what makes my kid who he is. What I would want is I would want to cure the world's cruelty. I'd want to cure the world's intolerance of people who are different. I'm I think it's improving, and I think there's a lot of loving and incredible people out there that actually do support and make it a safer place for people with autism. Good luck with that. Yes, EJ. Good luck. I believe that the people who are going to make the world a safer place for kids with autism are siblings, autism siblings. If you were on here earlier, you saw Emily come up, who talked about water safety. And she got her passion around this and her love for people with autism because her older brother has autism and would elope as a child. And then now she's going out to change the world. So many autism siblings are going out. They are accepting, they are loving, and they're the ones who are going to be changing the world and making it a loving and inclusive place. Sunny says autism is genetic. True or false? Sunny, it is about 80 to 90% genetic. Amanda says, my son has a hard diagnosis and his school doesn't want to accept his diagnosis. Oh, Amanda, the school doesn't want to accept the autism diagnosis? I'm so sorry. Unfortunately, it's not up to them. They don't get to decide whether they accept it or not. He has a diagnosis. He is entitled to supports under IDEA to ensure that he has equal access and opportunity to education. So they don't get to not accept a diagnosis. My son and his dad have the same difficulties. Oh my goodness. How do we feel ADHD is on the spectrum? We know there's overlap. We know there's comorbid diagnoses, but it is not technically on the spectrum. I'll do some more education on that down the road for sure on overlap and differences between ADHD and autism. Mercedes says, make sure to get his diagnosis on his IEP, and by law, we'll have to follow. Yes. Amanda says, I'm having him diagnosed a third time Wednesday by an autism diagnosis center. A third time? Amanda, why? Why have we had to go through this 3 times to get the school on board? I don't understand. Why? Why has that had to happen? Katie says, where do you live? Okay, let me give you a little bit of info on who I am, what I'm doing here. I live in Utah. I'm an autism dad. I got 2 kids with autism. They're amazing. They're beautiful. Love them to death. I will move mountains for my kids. I'm also a board-certified behavior analyst. I have a master's degree in autism studies, and I'm the CEO of a company that serves people with autism. And I'm the biggest advocate that you will see out there for autism and for autism parents. Okay, let's see. Taylor says, my stepson hates me, and I've been in his life for 3 years. I think it is a loyalty conflict with mom. Oh. Taylor, how they act might not be how they feel. Please know that, Taylor. Robinus. Hey there, Kyla. My name is Rob, and I have a podcast. I would love to have you. Hey, send me a message. I'd love to hear about it. I'm down to be on podcasts. Taylor says, my stepson hates me, and I've been in his life for 3 years. So I already read that one. I'm sorry, Taylor. I'm so sorry. That is hard to here's the hard part is you are doing everything for a child. It's hard when you feel like you're doing everything for a child, and their actions towards you don't reflect the amount of love that you have towards them. I understand that, Taylor. I really do. Mama says, my son has improved significantly working with NDs, proper diet and supplements, plus therapy. Also unschooling him, help him thriving. Neuropathic doctors, I'm guessing, Mama. I want to be really clear about this, that a lot of times the neuropathic doctors point you in directions of really expensive treatments that are not grounded in evidence. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. Just be cautious, you guys. And that it is not recommended by default that if your child has autism that you go to a neuropathic doctor, that you change their diet, that you change their supplements that they take. I would recommend, if you have concerns about needing supplements or that their levels are off, that you consult with your pediatrician and have labs done to determine from the pediatrician if supplements are needed. But I am so glad, Mamai, that you're seeing support, that you're seeing your child thrive. That's what matters. That's what matters here. Okay, everybody. My son is a breath of fresh air. Katie, I love that. Guys, we talk about challenges as autism parents around our kids, but I hope that the people who see us also see how much we love and how much we love our kids and how beautiful they are. I love my kids so much. They're amazing despite challenges that we have. Okay. Access to inclusive education is very expensive. Yeah, it is, Sonny. It is. For the schools, you don't have to pay for it. In the United States, if you have a child with disabilities, the school needs to provide inclusive education. There's a process of an evaluation for my 3-year-old. My pediatrician won't diagnose. Okay, so here's how to get a diagnosis. If you're wondering if your child has autism, the first thing to do is complete an autism screener. Okay, here's what you need to do. Usually, it's the MChat is the most common for a toddler that you can do. I actually have a version of that linked to my bio that's free, that you're able to go and do the MChat. And if the screener indicates high risk or likelihood of autism, what I want you to do is to go and schedule an evaluation with a psychologist or a specialist who diagnoses autism. They should accept insurance. I wouldn't pay for it out of pocket. And I also wouldn't settle for a wait list longer than 6 months. And so you need to call everyone that you can, every psychologist within a 5-hour radius of where you live, to be able to get in and be seen to get that evaluation done. Okay. Taylor, I'll have to look into that app. That's very cool. I didn't know about that one. We did ADOS. Yeah, Gerard. So the ADOS is what the psychologist will do to evaluate your child. The screener does not diagnose autism. The screening tool, what it does is it tells you if you should go and pursue an evaluation. Do your kiddos talk? Katie, good question. Kinda. They're learning a lot. But no, my son, who's 3.5, he has a lot higher support needs than my almost 2-year-old daughter. And he has some real challenges, and communication is definitely one of those challenges. But if you see some of the videos in my bio, you'll see what I'm talking about. He can answer about 5 or 6 questions that we've worked really hard on. He can answer, what's your name? He can answer, what is your mom's name? What is your dad's name? He can answer what is your birthday, and he is learning. He almost has it down. What is your phone number, which is really cool. And so, but outside of that, like, it doesn't generalize. Like, he can answer what is your name, but then we can't say, but what's his name? Like, no, like if I point at his mom and say, what's her name? He won't answer. But if I say, what's your mom's name? He will. So that's kind of where he's at, that he has a few questions that he can answer. We're working with him a lot on it. He has some higher support needs. Yeah. Nyako says, my son was recently put out of school and forced to do ABA full-time. Nyako, what? Who forced it? You as the parent have a say in this. Oh my gosh. I don't like that at all. There's a lot of parents who decide to do that, and I have, there may be situations where that's appropriate, but I am so sorry. You should never feel like you're forced to do that. The school has to, is the school paying for it? I mean, the school by law can't kick you out if you're in the United States. Taylor says, any advice for my stepson urinating on mine and my daughter's things? He is 7. Oh my gosh. Taylor, yeah, I have some recommendations. I absolutely have some recommendations. But they're not going to be simple recommendations. Let me tell you a little bit of my recommendations here. The first is, what is the purpose of the behavior? What is the function? Is this a medical issue where he urinating everywhere, or is he seeking out your things and urinating on them? So what I recommend, this is going to involve, this is a complex behavior. This is not one that you could Google and find an answer based on what the behavior looks like, okay? When you're trying to solve a problem, a lot of people, us parents, we tend to by default look at what does the behavior look like, and then we address it based on what the behavior looks like. What behavior analysts do is they take a different approach, and instead of what it looks like, what they do is they try to identify what in the environment is causing this behavior to occur. What is the function of the behavior? And if we know the function, the purpose of the behavior, then we can teach a replacement behavior. We can put the behavior on extinction, and we can reduce the frequency of the problem behavior. So my recommendation to you is you need to get a behavior analyst involved. If you're in the United States, this is a situation that you need to have a behavior analyst conduct a functional behavior assessment. So I would contact your ABA provider, and I would say, we need to do a functional behavior assessment on my child urinating on our objects, seeking our things. He is in CBT OT and has an IEP. Yeah, Taylor, I'm sorry. That is a hard behavior. It's complex, and we really, if he's seeking it out, that tells me it could be that he is trying to get a reaction out of you. It could be that he's trying to get access to things, maybe trying to escape something, but it really could be trying to get a reaction out of you. That's a very real thing. Thank you, Bad, for putting that out there. Nyako, I live in Missouri. Insurance pays for it. Okay, but here's the thing: if your school, who forced it, Nyako? Was it the school that forced this? If the school said we can't serve your child, you need to do ABA instead. If it was the school that did that and they wrote that into the child's IEP, then they need to be the ones paying for it. You shouldn't be paying anything out of pocket for it. And insurance, if insurance knew that the school kicked him out, they would be really upset that they're paying for it instead of the school. The school did. Okay, Nyako. Oh, the plot thickens, you guys. For context, Nyako says the school forced him to stop going to school and to do ABA instead. Look, that is illegal. Nyako, the school has misbehaved here. The school legally cannot say your child has to do ABA instead of go to our school. Under IDEA, they have the obligation of taking care. Your child has so many rights here. Look, the child not only, okay, oh, you can tell my thoughts are scattered here. Not only does your child have a right for the school to help your child meet their academic goals, but they're also obligated to provide transportation. The school should be paying for the ABA. If they said that they can only succeed with their academic goals through ABA, the school should be providing transportation. A bus should be picking your child up every day, dropping them off at ABA. The school should be paying for your child to get ABA. The moment you demand that, the school is suddenly going to say, well, actually, I think we could serve him. So if you want to fight this, you can. You absolutely can. 123 says, what detox do you recommend? I don't recommend any detox for your kid. Your kid is not full of toxins. That's not what caused autism. That is not what brought on autism. It's not what caused it, and it's not going to address autism symptoms. So don't do the detox stuff. Pediatricians don't recommend it. I'm not going to recommend it. Sarah says, what do I do when other children don't understand my son and treat him badly? Oh, guys, that breaks my heart. I think one of the hardest parts of being an autism parent is seeing my son getting older and having other kids try to interact with him, or even have adults try to interact with him, and then watching them realize that something is off. That breaks my heart to see. And I think I don't know what to do in that moment. I don't have good feedback other than educate. What I will say is try to be proactive in setting your child up for success. Put them in situations where they can be with kids who are understanding and loving. And that's all I'm going to say about it, but it's a lot. SD says, does stem cell treatment work? So right now, the research around stem cell treatment is mixed, not consistently positive, and there's some strong theory behind it, but it is not a recommended treatment for autism. There are so many mixed studies around it. It is expensive as well, and not been shown to effectively address autism symptoms. So I do not recommend stem cell treatment. There's a reason it's not FDA approved in the United States and people have to go out of the country to get it. There's also a reason that that I keep seeing ads for, let me promote your stem cell therapy practice. People, I mean, it's a business. It's a sales tactic that people are trying to get you to go and spend $15,000 to $20,000 outside of the U.S. to go and get your kid a treatment that hasn't been shown to be effective. So I don't recommend it. I do, if you are interested in it, here's what I do recommend. I recommend if you have any treatment that you have been convinced is going to help your child, try to participate in a study that is researching it so that you can contribute to the science behind it. Because who knows, maybe more science is going to come out and eventually insurance is going to pay for it. But that's not the case right now. And I follow current science, current best practices. And as that changes, I'm going to adapt with my child. But if you try to go beyond that, you're going to burn out. There's 1,000 things people tell you are going to cure your kid's autism. And the best thing that we can do is what is established, what is current best practice. Don't try to go find the cure to autism. Just love your kid, support your kid, and do things as simply and effectively as possible. All right. Are they shouting? Oh, okay, let's see. My son is 9, doesn't know what ASD is and that he has it. Do I let that be or do I explain it to him? Melissa, what a good question. And I am so glad that you're thinking about this right now. Let me share an alternative perspective. Imagine, and I know people in this situation, imagine being 25 years old, never feeling like you fit in, always feeling like you had to work 10 times harder than everyone else just to fit in and make friends and understand, social situations. Imagine going to a therapist who recommends getting evaluated for autism. You go, you get tested, you find that you've had autism your whole life. You go and you tell your parents, hey, I just found out that I have autism. And at that point, your parents say, yeah, we already knew that. You were diagnosed as a kid and we knew you had autism. What that person feels in that moment, okay? This is a real situation that actually happens, okay? But imagine feeling like that. What you're going to be feeling in that moment is that the past 15 years that I was struggling, I could have had supports, accommodations that made me more successful in life. And instead, to protect my own ego and my own self, my parents did not inform me about my diagnosis. I know it's a delicate topic, you guys, but I absolutely recommend involving your children in their own diagnoses, in their own struggles, and you can do it in a way that that is a positive thing. But the more that you treat it as something bad and taboo, the harder it would be to break it to them, right? Like if you've hit it their whole life and then you tell them when they're 18, I mean, then it really is going to feel like it's something bad. But if it's just like with my kids, we talk about it on a daily basis. We talk about autism. We talk about, struggles that we have and also the beauty of autism. I love that my kids, the way their brain works and the way that they value structure and organization and their quick ability to pick up on patterns and numbers and letters. I mean, it's a beautiful thing. And it's okay to say, hey, look, part of autism is this. And another part of autism is you may have a hard time with this. And, you might need support. And so it's okay to include it. And at their level, yeah, you're saying I'm just not sure he comprehends it. Yeah. And that's a real thing. My 3.5-year-old, he's I don't think he's ever, I don't know if he will ever understand that he has autism. I don't know. And that's okay if that's the situation. But the more, like, I would just recommend making it a part of the conversation. Yeah, Melissa, I'm right there with you. So I guess it's not something you don't have to like try to educate them on. You don't need to try to do like break it down every day of what autism is, but just don't hide it. I mean, bring it up. Just like, it's not a secret that I have brown hair, right? It's going to come up, right? You're not going to prevent your kid from knowing what color their hair is. Like, maybe they've never thought about it and that's okay, but it just is something that is. Yeah, Melissa, I agree. It's a good conversation to have. And that's just my perspective on it. I've talked to people who have been in that situation and they wish, as an adult going through life, they wish that they would have known and that their parents would have disclosed it. And to me, that's enough to tell me that general recommendation of, yeah, I mean, it's just a part of who they are. Yeah. Mercedes, thank you for sharing. My 17-year-old is very smart, nonverbal, loves music, and plays piano. Oh my gosh, that warms my heart. Plays the piano, nonverbal. Oh my gosh. I love that. Do you guys have, tell me if you also have a kid who's musical, whether they sing, play the piano, or an instrument, let me know in the chat. Just put sing or piano or if they love to listen to music, let me know. Like, music is something special with autism. I think there is something there to it. I don't know what it is, but there is like music therapy that can be calming for kids. It's not one of the frontline therapies, but something that if your kid enjoys, kind of like equine therapy that like being on horse can be regulating. But But ours tries to sing. I love that. I love that. Kels, our son is 6, loves to listen to music. I love that too. It's never quiet here. Yeah. Dancing to music. Loves to sing. Love drums. My 7-year-old almost knows half of country's name on the world. Wow. Amelia says bass and piano, one, and electric guitar, the other. Incredibly musical children. Verbal, however. Wow. Amelia, I love that. Music is so cool. It's so powerful. I really do love music. Okay, other than music, which sport like swimming is good for autistic kids? So I don't have a general recommendation. The cool thing is kids with autism, although there are commonalities in how their brain operates, their interests are so vast, and so it's more important. The idea here is finding things that they enjoy, and I do know that some have struggled to make group sports work, and that they have found more success and fulfillment in individual sports. But that's not by default. Like swimming and golf are individual sports, right? Typically, or track or things like that. And more of the team sports might require more support, but doesn't mean you avoid it. Amanda says my 6-year-old is also extremely tech savvy. Oh my gosh, I love that. Banana says music helps me clean so much. I'm able to focus if I'm listening to music. Yeah. Wow. Something interesting about my son. He picks up on the background noises. His brain tends to focus on what's going on in the background of things. And so like when a song is playing in the car, instead of singing the melody, he kind of attaches onto the background sounds that are happening and imitates them. And so if there's like a drum that sounds like a clap or a snap, he'll imitate that with his mouth and go along to the music of the background sounds instead of the main parts of the music. And that happens with everything. It's, instead of like focusing when I call his name, he is paying attention to, his sister coughing in the background. And from across the room, if someone coughs, he points it out and he'll cough. But if you call his name, he doesn't pay attention to that. My son loves to sing, play sports, and color. Amanda, I love that. Guys, what other special interests does your child have? Put it in the chat. What are some of the special interests that your child has? I really do enjoy hearing about special interests that our kids have. My son can read for hours, okay? He in the middle of the night sometimes, he'll wake up, he'll turn the light on, not even make a sound, but go get his books and just sit in bed and read. And he can't read as far as I know. I think he might recognize a lot of the words, but he can read for hours. Kelsey's a rock star at Angry Birds. Nyako says, my son loves origami. He can make anything. What? Are you kidding me? That's so cool. What other special interests do your children have, you guys? Or do you have, if you have autism? I have Asperger's and I'm almost identical to Sheldon. I just have better social skills. Canadian Sasquatch. That's so cool. I love that. Sounds like you're a smart guy. My son loves to build amazing castles with cool patterns. So cool. Wow. What is it, like drawing? Is that what it is, Olive? Mercedes, my son loves telling stories, as most of ours do. He started writing comics and books. Very cool. Banana says, I was so good at weaving as a kid because I picked up on patterns so good. Whoa, I love that. What are your thoughts on leucovorin? It's not a recommended treatment for autism. It's not FDA approved. It is not found consistently in the evidence to support autism. But I'm not mad at parents who try it. They should be aware there are side effects, however, to be on the lookout for. And I personally, for my own kids with autism, I'm not doing leucovorin. If more research comes out, I'd love to see it. Blocks and Legos. Oh, that's how they make the castles. I love that. Ashley. Wow, I just learned a couple weeks ago my 4-year-old nonverbal son can, in fact, read. I was blown away. Ashley, wow, how did you find out? I love that. Maddie says, my son loves to stack magnets, like extremely high. It takes so much coordination and balance. Oh, that makes me happy. That makes me happy. My son also loves butterflies. He loves butterflies. Just absolutely loves them. He also can build things with magnet tiles. I love it. All right, you guys, let me give you a little bit of a breakdown of what we're doing here. I'm having a good time here, guys. It's a good day. What we're doing here, we're talking about autism. I am an autism dad. I have 2 kids with autism, and I go on live every day. I'm curious, who here is new? Put new in the chat if this is your first time on my live. I want to see who here is new. A little bit of an introduction. I am a board certified behavior analyst. I don't believe that I have autism. I have not been diagnosed with autism, but 2 of my kids have. And thank you all for being new here. I love seeing you guys here. Oh, Lexi, you stop. Lexi's new. Oh my gosh. Okay. I'm a board certified behavior analyst. I've worked with kids with autism for a long time. I'm a BCBA, do ABA therapy. I'm a CEO of a company that provides services throughout Utah, but really I need a village, you guys, and y'all are my village. I come on here because I need the support. I have bad days, you guys. I have bad days, and it lifts me up every day coming on here and talking to you guys. So that's what we do. Please be sure, if it says follow right here and you're new, please make sure that you hit that follow button so that you can see next time I go live. Rosalind says, new, I love to read novels. I crochet and wrote a 295-page story. That's not a story, Rosalind. That's a novel. You wrote a novel. That's amazing, Rosalind. I love that. I can't imagine writing that much. All right, you guys. I will be going live tomorrow. We're coming to the end of my stream. Let me tell you a little bit. Kels, this is the only live I watch. I have a son with ASD and learning as much as I can about him and how to help us the best. Kels, I have loved you being part of this. Thank you for being here, being involved. We have an amazing village, you guys. I'm going to call it quits for the day. But please know I will be going live tomorrow. It just tends to be a little bit later on Sundays. And so be looking out for me. Typically, it's probably 3 p.m. or so Eastern time that I tend to go live. I go live for a couple hours, so you'll find me on there. Also, if you want to go over to YouTube, I do stream over there as well, and you are actually able to rewatch any of my live streams over there on the YouTube. So I appreciate y'all for being here. Thanks for the support. Thanks for contributing to this village. And I will see y'all in just tomorrow, 24 hours or so. Thank you guys. Have a good one.